Hello everyone, I'm Brian. I'm going to be reacting to Which Spiritual Path Should I Follow? Swami Sarvapriyananda. So it's kind of weird. A spiritual path should I follow? I don't think there's predetermined paths. I think everyone's path is unique. That doesn't mean special, just unique, because we all are different, but yet the same. I mean, we're all the same, that we have similarities in terms of, say, how we were raised to a degree, and our surroundings with people around us, but different from people in different towns or countries. And because of that experience, your path will be different. Now, what path should you follow? Well, it's going to be, I don't think anyone can really tell you what the right path is. People can give you tools to form your own path, and that path is something that you must create for yourself. I don't believe someone can say this is the path you should follow, because it might. I have a feeling someone's going to say no. Someone can say that. Someone can say that. Like, religious people will be able to say this is the path you should follow, and sometimes it works for them. But I have a feeling most of the time it's not going to necessarily work, because the certain paths are very strict, and the path is very narrow, and that path may not be something that people like. That's the reason why I do believe everyone has their own path. They should forge their own path, because it's going to be a path they much prefer. They don't know what's going to be on that path, but if they're able to overcome the difficulties of that path, they become a stronger person. And hopefully at the end of that path, they will find their way. I'm just saying a whole bunch of nonsense there. Let's go get started. That's a lot louder than the other ones.
How does one select a path to follow? For example, Kriya Yoga, Vedanta, Bhakti, etc. Singing the Ramayana, for example, brings me to tears routinely, since it tugs at the heartstrings. Listening to Vedantic talks is so utterly logical that it appeals to the scientist in me. However, I do not want to dig the proverbial well in too many places looking for water. It appears this is a question that one has to answer for oneself, but I'm hoping for your guidance for a way out of this dilemma, for those of us who are still living active samsaric lives.
Yes, very much so. That's the reason why, another reason why I do believe that you can ask for help from gurus and swamis. I don't necessarily believe that you must forge this path completely on your own, because I mean, when we were babies, we were highly dependent on our parents for growing up and for guidance, adults also. But that doesn't mean that you should always follow their path. You should heed their advice, but you should determine whether it's the right path for you or not. But still heed the advice. They've survived long. They should have some wise advice.
You see, all the paths can be fundamentally classified into the 4 yogas Swami Vivekananda spoke about. Jnana Yoga, the path of philosophical discrimination, where we realize that I am Brahman by an intuition by philosophy. Then there is the path of meditation, Raja Yoga or Patanjali Yoga, where the idea is to meditate, to calm the mind down so that the truth becomes evident, that I am the witness self. Then there is the path of love, which is the most common in all the religions of the world, where there is faith in God and love and surrender to God and trying to live a godly life. Then there is the path of converting our actions into spiritual practice, the path of service, karma yoga. All these are different paths to spiritual realization, and in the different religions of the world you will find basically these are the main types of practices. They may go under various names. There may be various mixtures of these 4, but fundamentally these are the 4 kinds of practices we find in spiritual life. It's interesting to note that we have, even psychology says, we have 3 kinds of powers. There is the cognitive domain, thinking. There is the cognitive domain, will, doing something. And there is the affective domain, emotion, feeling. These are the three aspects of our psyche. And you can easily see that the three of them are related to three of the yogas. One of them is related, the cognitive domain is related to Jnana Yoga, the affective domain to Bhakti Yoga, and the cognitive domain to Karma Yoga. And Raja Yoga, of course, is the power of concentration, of focus. So all of these powers are present in each of us. Swami Vivekananda, he pointed out that people are different. The same size shirt will not fit any two persons. So people are different. We have different natures. Some are more active. Some are more contemplative. Some are by nature more rational and inquisitive. Some are
Illogical.
devotional.
Oh.
They find it much easier to love and surrender. So depending on our own nature, the kind of path we take, it depends a great deal on our own nature. The safest and the most comprehensive path Swami Vivekananda recommended for everybody, he said, the harmony of the four yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. It is the harmony of the four yogas that is the path that is most suitable for our modern age. In our lives, we should have a component of philosophy, of reasoning, of understanding. We should have a component of meditation, daily meditation, and a component where you love and worship and adore God in whatever form, that is your tradition or what appeals to you. And also make sure that our lives are of use to others in Karma Yoga. So all of these four yogas are part of our spiritual practice. If you see the emblem of the Ramakrishna order, you find it, I think, here in the lectern. Emblem of the Ramakrishna order, which Swami Vivekananda designed here in the Vedanta Society of New York. He said that the emblem represents all the four aspects. You have the wavy waters, which represent karma. You have the sun of knowledge rising in the back, Jnana Yoga. You have the lotus of bhakti. And then you have the encircling serpent, which represents the power of Kundalini, which in turn represents yoga, Patanjali Yoga, the power of concentration. So by understanding, by devotion, by action, and by meditation, one can realize God. This is what he recommended. Now, depending on our nature, the particular mix that we will follow will vary. You start off with all four, and you will see over time, you may be more attracted to Jnana Yoga. You may be a bhakta. You may be more attracted to Bhakti Yoga. You notice within yourself that reciting the Ramayana brings tears to your eyes. Now that says something about your nature. So one may develop a tendency towards one of these paths. And the others should also be kept. Even though you may not be particularly attracted to a particular path, but should be kept as a part of one's spiritual repertoire. The reason is, even if we are not very comfortable, or it's not very easy for us to do one thing. Somebody says, I love working, I love serving people, but don't ask me to meditate. But invariably, the Swami will ask you to meditate. Somebody wants to meditate a lot, and he's told to go and work. Swami Ashokananda said, when I tell you to work, I can see the rebellious look on your face. You think perhaps that the Swami does not think highly of my capabilities as a spiritual seeker. Perhaps he thinks I am not ready for meditation. Well, I will show him. And then Ashokanji says, and you will show me, but not in the way you think. So, often the paths which we are uncomfortable with, or which we are not capable of doing so far, those are the paths which are of maximum benefit to us. Because those are the sides of our personality we have not yet developed. It's good to operate in a zone of minimal discomfort. In a zone of absolute comfort, growth is not possible. In a zone of great discomfort, again, growth is disturbed. But some discomfort where you are pushing yourself a little beyond your present capabilities, that's when we grow. So the harmony of the four yogas is to be kept in one's spiritual life.
Oh geez, well, I didn't even say much on that entire thing. So harmony of those 4 yogas. Well, I do agree. You do need the harmony in your life, of course. Physical activity, mental activity, and relaxation. You cannot just straight up work. You cannot just constantly working out. I'm paraphrasing here. You have to have it's basically saying you basically have to have a balanced life. And I guess which spiritual path should I follow? I guess maybe you, according to what he said, you do have to, in a sense, have them all. But you may favor one over another. But having all 4 paths is I guess necessary, and a balance. Well, maybe not even a balance of those 4 paths. But I get it. You do not want to be lacking in anything in particular in life. You want to be at least a well-balanced person, to have all the aspects. That way you are not lacking in any one department. That's a weird way to say that, but I do believe that to be true, and I can't wait to get to the other paths of yoga to learn more about them. So far, I think we've done so far is Karma Yoga, the path of action, and I don't know which one's going to be the next one. I'm going to look that up and find out. But to follow to see what the other 3 paths are, and see how I kind of already do that actually. The path of Karma Yoga. I generally, when I interact with people, I try to be nice. There's this level of niceness and respect that I give to everyone that I just met, and from there it goes more respect or less respect depending on how they treat me. The golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. And I do believe, if I remember correctly, this is the most followed path because it's the easiest. It's basically to serve other people, and I think most people enjoy serving other people. He did explain that in one of his lectures, that the 4 things that give us joy, one I believe is just buying. Like, I can't remember what he said, but I think one of them is just buying ourselves stuff. Buying a new pen makes you happy, but that's only a temporary happy, and then this no longer makes you happy, and you have to buy another new pen. 2 is to, I guess, buy other people things. I can't quite remember. But the 3rd one is what I do remember, is to serve other people. It's not necessarily buying them something, but helping them, providing, or to service them in some way. And that gives you a greater happiness, a longer lasting happiness. I can't remember what the 2nd one was. It's not buying other people things. I think the first one was buying yourself things, which will give you a very small temporary happiness. Number 2 is, I can't remember what number 2 was. But number 3 is about serving people, and the psychologist, and even the psychologist said that it gives you a greater happiness, a longer lasting happiness. And the 4th one is self-realization, self-awareness that you are Brahman, to be an eternal bliss. Anyways, that's my reaction to which spiritual path should I follow. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.